Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Life as I See It with your hostess, Dina Nierenberg. And with me today, I have Sarah Rosenbaum.
Oh, hi.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
having me back.
My
it was
pleasure.
so much fun last time.
It
so
was exactly a
looking
week
forward.
ago. My
Oh.
pleasure. And Tiffany of EST fame.
Yay.
Welcome back, sweetheart.
Thank you for having me. I love coming
Yeah.
here.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here I am with the crew from last week. And what were we talking about last week? We were talking about tolerances and intolerances of food. And how each and every one of us has different things that we can eat and different things that we can't eat. And what's good for you may not be good for me. And what's good for me may not be good for you. And from there, we took it forward and we said, okay, we spoke about food tolerances. What about people tolerance? We live in a world of billions and billions of people, different religions, different cultures, different races, different belief systems, more than 70 nations. Why is it that we cannot get along? I feel like we just now answered our own question, and there's so many differences. Yeah. People and their differences. People saying, you know, this is me, this is what I can tolerate. I can tolerate what's around myself, but I cannot tolerate what you have to offer because it's different for me, and I don't think it will fit into my diet.
I agree with you. There's some people you can stand and there's some people you can't stand.
That's right.
And sometimes you see somebody on the street and you just know from a mile away that you will never get along with this person. Sometimes we're placed into situations where we have to work with people that we don't want to work with.
True.
So I agree with you on that. It's life. It's the way of the world. We can't all love everybody.
Basically, two different streams here. Like, one is general intolerance that certain people have that I think definitely is taught, unfortunately, which is just anybody from a particular country or of a particular race or religion or who thinks a certain way or political affiliation.
That's right.
You know, I don't think no kid cares about any of those. I mean, certainly not politics, but like no kid cares about any of those things. A kid will be friends with anyone who's nice. So that's the second stream.
That's right.
Which is, as individuals, there's, you know, we all have personality differences and we all have, you know, different things that we're sensitive to in conversations or in, you know, personalities or character things that, and, you know, there's, I don't want to say there's like varying levels of legitimacy, but there kind of is. Obviously, ideally, for sure in the first stream, everybody should be able to tolerate a person's basic existence.
Yes.
You know, and see and get past that and see them for who they are. See whether they can tolerate their particular personality or whatever. That is a higher level.
Got it, for sure.
Like the ideal is that we can all be patient with, you know what I'm saying? With anybody, no matter how difficult they may be or no matter how, right? Because we all went through things, we probably all went through traumas of whatever, you know, levels. Sure. And especially the earlier things that like even a little thing can affect like a child who's like so open and so whatever.
So
and it just, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just shapes us. It's just we become more sensitive to certain things that other people aren't sensitive to. Right. So ideally, you know, again, if we like people, I'm trying to formulate this thought because it's like ironic kind of that let's say what was I just saying, that we should all be patient with each other's differences and with each other's, right? But let's say it's hard for me to be patient with a particular trait. Like, let's say, I don't know, I'm just pulling something, like, let's say if someone's arrogant, you know what I'm saying? It bothers me. Yeah. It bothers me to just stay silent and just say, oh yeah, sure, or whatever, you know?
You want to say something to throw it in so they know that you know that they're...
Right,
you know?
right. Which is, which again is the ironic, like, reciprocity, which is that the truth is, that's kind of also my problem because why should, like, why do I, you know, like, why should I be that way? Why do I feel the need to communicate that? Why?
To be the bigger person in the situation is, it's a lot to be the bigger person. And when you are the bigger person, to be honest, sometimes it feels amazing. Sometimes it feels like that person did not deserve
Deserve that.
that,
Right.
because they don't even understand what I did for them.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But God
Right.
knows.
God
God
knows.
knows
That's true.
exactly what you did
Yeah.
for them, and that's really the only one who has to know what you
And
did.
probably everyone else in the room, if there's anyone else in the room.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When I do something for somebody, and I know for a fact that they're not going to know that it was me,
Oh.
or they're not going to know to what lengths I ran for
Yeah.
them. I said, but God saw this. God saw exactly what I just did. And even if this person doesn't appreciate it, and I get no thanks, and I get no little gift or any type of recognition, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know that I am living at my highest level.
Right.
And that's an incredible feeling when it comes to areas of tolerance. You know, it's you live in Toronto and it's a metropolis. We live in New York and it's a metropolis.
Right.
And there's so many different types of people.
Yeah.
It really is time to tolerate each other. Not to necessarily have to be like them and take on their religious views or their cultural views or their political views, but to tolerate people and to realize, hey, we're all God's gift to this universe. Each and every one of us. No matter what our belief system, God loves each and every one of us. We're all here to be an inspiration to ourselves and to the world around us. Everybody can contribute something. And people are not necessarily going to be able to say, yeah, you did this to me, and you're so amazing because you
Yeah.
did that for me. But you know what you did, and you know when you're growing. When I was very, very young and I got no recognition for certain things, or I tolerated certain poor behaviors by saying, oh, yeah, totally,
Yeah,
you're
that's
right. That used to boil my blood. And now I'm like, so, you know what? I'm taking the higher ground, the
Right.
moral high ground,
Right.
and loving it. And loving it.
Wow.
But sometimes you can tolerate something too much to the point where someone steps on your head
Ah,
already.
that's a good point.
And then you got to
That's a
move
good
yourself
point.
far, far, far
Yeah,
away
then
from
you have
them.
to
Yeah,
distance
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
and
Dis-
cut
dis-
them off.
There is,
And then
Or
they're
create
sitting,
boundaries.
yeah,
If
and
they
then
were-
they're chasing you after.
Oh, they do.
Why?
And they want, why? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Tolerance
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
mean that we accept any behavior from
Yes.
someone.
Right,
Absolutely
that's
not.
right.
Boundaries is
That's right.
important. You
Yes,
are right.
yes.
Yeah. But more often than not, we can find tolerance in our heart. But also we have to have the intuition. We keep on coming back to intuition to be able to realize this person, they're genuinely not a good person now. There's nothing I could say. There's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could think to make myself believe that this is a good person. There are people, of course, that you
Yeah.
must distance yourself
Right.
from or forget about
Yes,
or he's
yes,
down the tubes
yes.
eventually, and so are
Yeah.
you. She will pull you down. He will
Right.
pull you down. It's an energy thing.
Yeah.
You cannot let people stamp on your energy. You cannot let people crush your energy. You
Or your
cannot
time.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
your
or your time.
Yeah.
But not every people is God's people. That's also another thing. We are all, yes, we're all God's children, but there's people who turn away from God, and you have to tolerate them in this world. And
Right.
it's scary. You can feel the energy. You
Yeah.
can feel when someone has something dark inside of them. You tend to stay away. But sometimes they can be disguised as the best person ever.
Oh, the hypocrites, right?
The big hypocrites. And that's what's scary. That's what's scary. Trusting new people, being with new
Right.
people.
That's
you know?
right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
It's also even in a relationship sense. He can paint you the biggest picture in the world, buy you flowers,
Yeah.
tickets, movies, bags, shoes, and then 3 months into the relationship, you're sitting and
You
you're scared for
reveal-
you're
yeah,
scared
you're
for
like,
your life because
wow,
everything
that-
triggers him, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all different. People go through different stuff in life.
Sure.
But we have to learn with our experiences in life. We learn who to tolerate and who not to tolerate anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
I was also just thinking that it's not just about tolerance, like gritting your teeth and like dealing with somebody.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we actually really can also learn from others if we learn to tolerate them. Like let's say like I have a very strong opinion on something, right? If I'm not open to hearing someone else's opinion, then like what like how did I get that opinion? It must have been also from learning,
Yes.
from being open at some point. When do I all of a sudden close? Like if I still retain my opinion, doesn't mean that I'm not sure about my opinions. You can be sure about your opinions, but you can invite other people into the conversation. If you still come out with the same opinion at the end, that's okay too.
Totally, yeah.
But the thing is, even with the arrogance example that I'm just like I'm just thinking now that we're talking about it, that I'm trying to learn from myself that let's say like even if someone's arrogant, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong.
Or
Sometimes
bad,
they
or
are.
bad.
No, or
Yeah.
bad. But the thing is, it's so hard, let's say, for me in particular, if someone is arrogant, if someone says their opinion with arrogance, I feel like it just makes me not want to listen to them. And it's so hard to like just get over that and hear their opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that that's also, it's like tolerance on both sides. If someone's arrogant, does that also mean that they're not tolerant? Or does it just mean, I don't know,
Could be a pompous attitude also. Like,
Yeah.
I come across as an arrogant person.
or like it means that they're, because you can be confident with your opinion without being arrogant, right?
Yes.
A person could be insecure and be arrogant at the same time. As a matter of fact, arrogance usually stems from deep, deep insecurity that you're not going to be listened to, that you're still this little child, that you still want mommy's and daddy's approval. You still want to be heard, really, really heard. And you feel like you're not going to be heard unless you come across as, this is my opinion. This is how I feel.
And I have to be right. Yeah. And if they're not right, then also that could
I'm gonna
shatter
keep
their-
fighting. Yeah, if you're gonna try to have an opposing opinion to me, I'm saying, no, I'm right. And you're wrong. And this is my opinion. And not only that, but I have status. People adore me. This is my job. So I am you can listen to me.
That it's like if they're not right, then that means something about themselves. That
That
means they're not smart, or they're inferior, or they're not good enough, or they needed to be
not good enough to be
maybe.
listened to.
Yeah.
Because that's usually arrogance comes from insecurity as a child, that I will not be listened to, I will be misunderstood, I will be misheard, I will somehow be punished for having an opinion, or for having a bad opinion, the wrong opinion.
But those people need to humble themselves. For real.
Yeah,
They
just to
need
get
to.
along in the world.
Because listen, you can grow up with everything in the world. You can grow up and have everything given to you on a silver plate. Does not need to make you be a terrible person to other people.
True.
You
True
don't
that.
have to. I've never in my life. I honestly, I grew up with everything. I had an amazing childhood. I had everything. But if right now, if I see that you don't have, like for example, if I have $50. If you're hungry and I'm hungry, I'll buy us the food. We'll eat together. Don't even worry about it.
Loving it.
I don't care, you know? My mom always gave me money. Go enjoy with your friends. Obviously, I'm going to spend on my friends because maybe
parents are
someone
amazing.
doesn't have,
Right,
you know?
right.
That's why I was always
Beautiful.
raised to be nice to everybody,
Everybody.
no matter what situation you're from, no matter what. I used to take garbage bags of clothes and just hand it to girls. All of Brooklyn walks in my clothes to this day. But sometimes I regret it. Because there's girls. Like, I give you the clothes, right? I get no problem. Enjoy them, whatever.
And then they're all walking around like,
Don't show off to
right.
me with my own stuff.
Oh, look,
gosh.
Tiff, you gave this to me.
But I don't need to throw it in your face that, I gave it to... Enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Keep
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
never want to mention it a day in my life. But just don't act better than me and my own stuff.
Right.
You know?
I
right.
see what the
Yeah.
deal
That's
is.
it.
I see what's going on.
And that also, by the way, that's what I was saying before about how
I get
it's
it.
learned, it's taught. Like
It is.
just like some people in a similar situation could teach, oh, we're superior or whatever. You learned, no, we share, we give, we don't
Of
judge
course,
people, we
ever.
don't we value everybody, and that this is what it's all about. We all play different roles in the world.
That's right.
And honestly, by doing that, you teach others to be like that.
It's true. You become a role model.
You do,
Yeah.
because people learn from that. You know,
Yeah.
somebody can be grown to be, oh, cheap, don't give your stuff here, don't give your stuff there, don't spend extra money here, don't extra. And then you teach them with that, you get good karma.
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely.
You get
Oh yeah, when
it.
you teach a lesson, you get
Always.
great
Absolutely.
karma.
You get it back. So from a
comes
person
back to you.
learning that from you, they're doing something nicer for someone else.
You see-
That falls back onto you.
That's
always.
right. That's right.
Beautiful.
That's a good deal of the reason why I try to be a role model, because
Yeah.
I know that I'm not only
You're
going
the
to
best
be
role
affecting
model.
you, but then you're going to go ahead and affect other
Pay it
people.
forward.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that's right. You're going to go ahead and do something nice for somebody else. One time I was in a bookstore, just like 2 decades ago, and while bookstores still existed, really. Hi, Rose from Harnix, missing you. Mwah. Well, anyway.
We still have some, don't we? Okay, good.
Yeah. So there was this. I was in that Harnix bookstore. It's like a cute little family-owned bookstore, and a young girl. She came in and she was browsing, and she wanted this book, but it was clear that she could not afford it. So I said, okay, honey, give me the book. I paid for the book, gave it straight to the girl, and then Rose, who owned the store, she said to this kid, she said, now pay it forward to somebody else.
Oh.
This lady just did something for you. You do something nice with
Yeah.
somebody else now.
Beautiful.
And that gave me really pause to think, wow, I did not know that my actions can cause more and more and more actions,
Yeah.
like ripple effects.
Yeah.
So sweet.
But it does. Yeah, and also a negative action causes more negativity, causes more negativity and more negativity, and the fighting never, ever, ever stops.
Yeah.
So sad.
Like we say, it starts energy, happiness, sadness, anger starts on a cellular level. It starts with me. What I put out is what I get back, but also it goes further and further and further and further. We can have a world of tolerance or intolerance. It's up to each and every one of us individually. And don't say, oh, there are billions of people in the world, so how can little me affect? Little me, I can affect. We can all affect. You know?
And also that it's like and just another example of how it can, like, paying it forward, or the more, the negatives or the positives, that we all have certain orientations of, like, we want to believe that, some people want to believe that the world is good. And when they hear something like that, they're like, see, I knew it. I knew there were good people out there. But on the other hand, people who experience negative things, people who experience people taking from them or taking from others, being mean, you know what I'm saying? What happens is also we kind of look for the evidence of that. We look for, like, subconsciously, we only notice those things.
Yeah.
So that's why also when somebody behaves that way, somebody with an orientation, see, I knew people were really selfish. See, I knew people, you know what I'm saying?
It's about perspective and how you look at
Perspective.
things. 100%.
And shifting perspective where necessary, because not everybody in this world is pleasant. Not everybody is nice. Some people are the polar opposite of pleasant and nice.
Well put. Well put. Good wording.
Thank you. And the question is, are we going to focus on those people, or are we going to focus on the majority of people that truly love and want to be loved, even with their exterior, their hard armored exterior? Sometimes they're so arrogant, and sometimes they're so creepy, so cruel, so ruling with an iron fist. We got to see, am I going to focus on this crowd, or am I going to focus on that loving crowd, which is so much of the population, 90-something% of the population. I know this because every day I go out into the world and I am extremely nice to everybody. Say hello to people, whether in the street, whether in the elevator, wherever I am, and especially to people in stores. They deserve it. The salespeople, they deserve it.
And that's a good thing that you do, because it gives a person recognition.
Like somebody,
wow,
somebody.
thank you.
Oh, wow.
Someone
Yes.
knows me.
Yeah, and then you come back into the store another time, like, hi, and they're all hi. And it's like it's one big slumber party there. And but if we're going to, if we choose to focus on that, life is so incredible.
Yeah,
it can be. If you focus on the 95% of people that really, really want love and love people, you're gonna have the greatest life ever. But if you're gonna focus on the 5% who are life-taking and not life-giving, life is going to be a horror for you, a horror show. Really, a complete and total horror scene. If you can focus on the 95% amazingness, or the 5%, oh my gosh, these people are awful, get them away from me. Energy vampires in general. Yeah.
And it brings out more of that in people. Also, if you focus on the good parts of the people, if you can see past the exteriors, like, again, even with arrogance or with, their covers, like our shells, because again, no one wants to be hurt, no one wants to be, right?
Sure.
So we all have different defense mechanisms and different ways that they show up in different situations. So, like, trying to see past that and see underneath that, like, what's causing that, and it brings out more positivity in each individual also, not just even within the 95% of the population. There's obviously still
Right.
where different levels of how open we're comfortable being or whatever, and it allows people to be more comfortable and bring out more of their positive and their love and feeling,
That's
that they can show that and not need to be so armored.
One of my best friends, she's a Sag. And you guys have this about you, that you're very closed off in the beginning until you get to know somebody. And then you're just like everywhere,
It's
so
true.
when my other friends like meet her, she's like my main, she's my best friend. When they meet her, they're like, oh, she's such a, like
Snob.
a little bit, like her nose is a little too high, and I'm like,
It's
no,
not.
she's
She's shy.
absolutely
Or
not.
whatever, or, like-
She like is extremely shy from you guys. That's number one. Number two, it takes her a while to open up. Like, give a
Right.
person some
Right,
time.
right.
So sometimes you need to give a person some time. Sometimes
Absolutely.
you could give people more chances than they earn, just to see who they are.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you
you
don't
don't
know
know
until
until you give them,
Exactly.
let's
It's an
say.
energy thing. The energy
is.
is so bad. You're like, I don't even want to give them a chance to open up.
Yeah.
I'm just like, like straight away. Like I've met a couple of people like once in my life, and I'm like, no, we're not friends. We're never gonna be friends.
Yeah.
So
But you can still
sorry.
tolerate them.
But
That's
it's-
another
right,
important
that's right.
distinction.
Tolerance
because
is
there's
very-
tolerating people
Tol-
and then
right.
being close to people or getting,
right.
you know.
That's right.
You can
That's
still
right.
tolerate people that you wouldn't be friends with, but you don't need to be, let's say, you don't need to shun them or make them
Yeah.
feel excluded or make them feel bad. You can just know their place in your life.
Uh-huh.
Try to, let's say, be polite or stay away, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
Keep
don't
a
have to put out
distance,
negative
yeah.
energy. You just
right.
Be
know where.
cordial.
Be
That's
cordial.
it. Be nice. Be cordial.
cordial. Be
You
cordial
see them. Hi. Hello.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but you brought out a really, really good point before. If you're going to be tolerant of people, and if you're going to show them this side of yourself that's all spiritual, all spirituality, literally all the God-given part of you, sometimes it melts them, and they drop their armor. And they drop their insecurities. They drop the arrogance. They drop that tall front, that moat that they put around themselves, and they're wow. This person is willing to show me a tolerance, even though I've been so horrible to her. I've been so creepy. I've been so mean. I said the worst things to her when I first met her. I've been such a horrible human being. But yeah, look at this woman. She's tolerant to me. She's been kind. She's been nice. She's trying to understand me and where it is that I've been through, what I've been through. And then it melts them. Like they used to be like ice princess, and then it melts them completely.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're like, wow, this person genuinely cares. No matter how I've acted out, this one really cares. And it changes how you perceive people a lot. And given this time that I've given myself, I've become, as I've gotten older, more and more tolerant of more and more and more of the population. Look, I was always tolerant of religion, race, that kind of thing. Even politically, I've always been tolerant of that, but then there's always been the individual person. I also had a major problem with arrogant, conceited people. Terrible. I'm like, you're gonna be like that to me? Well,
Yep.
I can do worse than that.
It's
And now I'm all, you know what? You're gonna show me your arrogance, your conceitedness. You're gonna show me how you are. Let me see what I can do to melt that. Even as a psychological researcher, I think I can melt that about you. Now, I don't want to melt you. I want to melt that exterior. I see exterior. Can I?
It becomes a challenge.
It's a
for you,
challenge.
right?
It's a daily challenge, and I love it. Can I melt this one's moat?
Yeah.
Can I melt this one's ice?
Yeah.
interesting. Wow,
It's
nice.
a daily thing for me. That's a habit already.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
Sometimes the most guarded people are like just teddy bears.
Yeah.
Literally
Sure.
like gummy inside.
Yeah.
I know people like that.
Yeah.
I know so many
Absolutely.
people like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you work on that? Like how did you first of all recognize it and how did you know what to do in order to expand your tolerance and being able to, try to be more inclusive even of people who it's not as easy
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah. Well, it all started with me. I used to be very intolerant of myself. I was extremely critical of myself, extremely harsh on myself. I was like my own worst terrorist.
Right.
And I started to notice that when I'm going harsh on myself, I myself don't like my energy. I hate my energy when I'm going hard on myself. And also when I'm going harsh on other people, I hate my energy. It's not that I hate me. I hate
right.
what I'm doing. I
Right.
hate what I'm creating here, and it's
You
palpable
give
what I'm
yourself an
creating.
evil eye like that.
You-
You can give it to yourself.
And I'm so and the energy is so viciously bad, and I'm like, I cannot keep living like this. things have got to change because I don't want to give out bad energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I've always had a good heart, and I've never wanted to give out bad energy. And I started to realize when I'm mean to me, when I mean to, especially when I'm mean to me, this is exactly what I start to show other people. Even if I'm not an evil jerk, and even if I'm not saying horrible things to you, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. And even if I could tell you I love you, you're just not gonna feel that
Yeah.
because Dina's being on herself.
Wow.
So all that energy is still gonna be negative, no matter what Dina says. Dina can tell you the nicest words. Dina can buy you a $5 million house, but yeah, you're gonna be like, Dina still holds back. Dina still holds back. So I realized I don't want to do this my entire life. And I said, that's just it. The love is going to start with me. The positive energy is going to start with me. I'm going to treat myself like a princess from here on in. And I started really just giving myself love and not so much great words of affirmation as much as I stopped going harsh on myself. And then a very cool magical thing happens when you start going hard. When you stop being harsh with yourself, suddenly all your great energy starts to bubble up because you are naturally great.
Yeah.
You are naturally great. You naturally have incredible energies. Our negativity that pushes us down and gives us negative energy. So after I started letting go of all the negative that I was thinking about myself, I had all this positive to give. And I said, okay, if I can think of myself this way, I'm going to go around every day and treat everybody like they are the best,
Wow.
nicest, most loving person I've ever met in my entire life and see what it does.
Yeah.
Wow.
And see what it does.
Amazing.
And most of the time, 90-something% of the time, it melts them
It
completely.
brings it out.
It brings them out.
That's
And
amazing.
you go and you say hi to somebody in an elevator, for the most part, and like, hi, oh my gosh, you made my day. I didn't think anybody cared. I didn't know people still say good morning.
Oh my gosh.
And it makes people's days, and it does a lot for certain people. It does
Absolutely.
a lot. You never know who's on the edge.
That's right.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't know. If you
right,
could have said like that one little thing, say it. Compliment somebody
Oh,
on
yeah.
something.
Definitely.
Say something nice. Who cares?
It doesn't cost you anything.
At all whatsoever. It's $3.99, and also it does a lot for a person. I'm sorry. If I heard like from the street right now, there's a lot of people who yell at me from the street and tell me I'm beautiful, but it matters from who. If a woman tells me I'm beautiful, she means
Oh,
it.
you know, and
You know,
that's a
she
compliment.
means it. It's
The men mean it too. Trust me.
I mean it, but it's not as
I know
meaningful.
what you mean.
It takes a lot for a woman to compliment another woman.
For sure.
It takes a lot. There's a lot of
Lack
You know
of
what's
ego.
funny?
Lack of ego.
But
for sure.
I've gotten because I do that also. If I like
Yeah.
someone's dress or if
Yeah.
they do whatever,
They
even if I
look
literally, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, oh, you're beautiful. I say,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I love your
So
dress.
nice.
No, but people, a couple of times, a woman has like given me a weird look. Like,
because
why
they
am I
think
doing
you're like
that?
jealous and it's like evil.
No,
eye.
what are you talking about?
That's how it was.
No, they probably thought I was hitting on them.
Maybe. Oh
They're
my
like,
God, it's
what
hard.
is
It's
with you? Like, it's weird.
sometimes, yeah.
No, I'm telling you.
I
it's
know,
weird.
I-
Like,
I believe it. Yeah,
I'm
there's-
like, why
there's-
can't I just?
There's that minority that's like,
nice,
oh
I'm
my
just kidding.
gosh.
You
I'm
know
like, not, you
when
know?
somebody is genuinely complimenting you and someone that's like jealously complimenting you.
Why would someone do that? I don't even understand.
It
It's a
happens.
difference. Like, it's a feeling,
And
energy.
I'll tell you guys, when I go to Moscow, let me tell you, those people are just, they're just the worst people to be around. They're all mean and fake. They're fake like no tomorrow. They see, oh, you're from America, this and that. They
yeah,
try,
yeah.
oh, hi, I love this, I love that. By the end of the night, the dress is
Oh.
ripped, the
What?
makeup's smudged, because people's evil eye goes on to you. If someone, this always happens to me
Whoa,
in
oh my
Moscow.
gosh.
If they complimented something on my body,
No.
something is either ripping, breaking, or snapping off of me, it happens. There's people that aren't genuine. There's people who are jealous. That's why you have to also be careful. Who and what. Just say thank you, smile, compliment a person back, because then there won't be no reason for them to. I don't know. It's weird. People's energies are weird. You don't know who's wishing what on you. You don't know who's doing what on you. That's also another scary thing in
Right.
life.
But also that's, makes us think like to be modest enough and to not, like you were saying, to people flaunting your own clothes
Yeah.
on them. But still, also we have to keep in mind that
Exactly.
social media does not encourage that.
Yeah.
It encourages like, hey, look what I'm doing. Look at me.
Look what I'm wearing.
That's what it's, yeah.
Look right.
Just be nice to people.
Just to be nice to people.
it.
That's right.
Just be nice.
Yeah. And God looks after all of us. He
That is
loves
true.
each and every one of us. He protects each and every one of
Oh,
us. We gotta believe that God is absolutely in charge of everything. And if something is meant to come to you, it's not gonna get by you.
Right.
I used to see this energy healer that I no longer see, but I got a couple of really good messages from her. And I used to be really, really upset about certain things in my life not going the way I wanted them to go. And at first I'm all like, oh, it's because people don't wish me well. And then she said to me, listen, if God wants you to have it, you're going to have it. Nothing that's supposed to come to you is
Well,
going to get
bless
away from you.
you.
It's going to get by you.
Very good.
Just know that you have what's coming to you. God already has planned out what's coming to you in its right time.
Right.
It's going to come to you. All you have to do is keep on believing in God. All you have to do is keep on praying and believing that nobody and nothing can affect you.
Can interfere with anything
And
that
that's
God
that
wants
God
to give
wants you to have.
Beautiful,
If
beautiful.
you don't allow it,
I don't allow it.
it's not gonna come to you.
Tiff, I just don't allow it. That's it. There are a lot of jealous people in this world, but I don't allow myself to believe that, oh, because of them and their jealousy,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
I'm like, if God wants me to have this and that, He's going to make sure, beyond the shadow of a doubt,
Right.
Yeah.
no matter what walls He has to push to make it happen, He's going to make sure that I have this.
Yeah.
Right. Very good.
That's right.
Yeah. But people's karma usually comes back to them. If you're wishing bad,
1,000%.
it's gonna go back
Always.
to them.
Always. That's a very, very
It's
strong
like
point.
you can't wish bad on anybody, no matter who and what, because it still comes back to you. You think just like how God's protecting me, they're not gonna protect them. It's the same thing. Just don't wish bad on anybody.
right, exactly,
Live
yeah.
your life. Live for yourself. Live for the people around
That's
you.
right.
Right.
Wish good on others. Pray for the people
That's-
around you.
Yes,
Pray for other
yes,
people.
people need
Pray
your
for
prayers.
strangers on the street.
That's right.
Pray. That's it. That's the most we can do.
That's right. That's right. Pray for mankind because
yeah.
we need it.
Oh gosh.
And at the end of the day, we all have one God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And He looks at all of us. We're all His children. He takes care of each and every one of us, giving each and every one of us what we need at the right time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dina Nierenberg. This is Life as I See It with Sarah Rosenbaum.
Thank you so much for having me again.
My
Always
pleasure.
a pleasure.
My
Awesome.
pleasure. My pleasure. And Tiffany Stoika. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you,
Love
girls,
you.
again. I
It was
love
so
this.
fun.
God bless you. I love you.